Welcome to episode 10 of Liquid Velvet Literature. Some people call me Maurice. All right, welcome to episode 10 of Liquid Velvet Literature, here on Prose Radio. Today we are led with a quote by Metallica, or rather, lyrics by Metallica, from The Thing That Should Not Be, from Master of Puppets, hands down the heaviest song in metal. I don't care who says what, I will put anything on that. Come at me. Well, let's just say that it's the heaviest riff in metal I've ever heard. Personally. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, so I bring this up because this all ties into literature. And when I first heard Metallica, I was a teenager and I was in high school, and this kid came in with this cassette tape, Master of Puppets, this kid in my art class, stoner kid named Aaron. And I remember I liked him and we had a lot of fun. I wasn't much of an artist, but I liked the class for the freedom of that class. It was fun. Everybody was kind of, they all had their own thing. There wasn't that central brain mentality. It was like this, everybody was off in their own worlds, yet they cared about yours. It was a really cool time. Not that now is not, it's just when you reflect on when you first get in, indoctrinated into metal, right? When you first get indoctrinated into good music or literature or writing. And so when I found Metallica, that was the first song I heard from them. And I remember I was home in my room and I was playing that. And that's the first song I heard. That's where the cassette tape was set to, right? So he must have blasted Battery and Master of Puppets and then stopped it when he pulled into school. So I got home and I played that, and I'd never heard anything quite like that, or anything like that, period. So I laid there and I was thinking, holy shit, what is this, And I started getting into it. This is poetry. And I found out later that it was that song, like another one behind them, was derived from H.P. Lovecraft's Cthulhu. I never got into that kind of stuff, but I respected their reverence for it. And we start the show this way today because of the occurrence throughout history of art influencing art. I just love that. I love the way that, so how Lovecraft or Hemingway can inspire a band like Metallica, so can Nabokov inspire a band like The Police, and on and on and on. So can Nabokov inspire Spandau Ballet, Take your seaside arms and write the next line. That is a Nabokov line from Lolita. And I can go on and on and on, but I won't. I will say that learning about the origins of some of these songs, I would later find out that as I got into, different kinds of music, be it classical, be it post-punk, be it punk, be it all the stuff I got into, that was different, smart music, right? It didn't matter what genre it was. If it was smart and I learned from it and I liked it and it was raw and it was caustic or beautiful, I took it in. I didn't care. Indiscriminately, I devoured art, leading me down all kinds of windy and dark and bright paths of that. And so one of them was a detour into philosophy as a very young man, and I think it was the Zero aphorisms by Kafka, and he said, "A cage went in search of a bird." And that hit me really hard and well. It hit me right in the core. And I thought, you know what? That I understood. I understood at a very young age. I understood. And what that brought to me, what I kept from that, what I took from that was stay free. There is a wide cast safety net of contentment, and we've all fallen into it. I kind of bask in it sometimes, but back then I despised it. So anyway, I bring this up because a lot of that freedom for me came from writing. It came from reading. It came from listening to what I thought was good music. And it came from many factions of those sources, right? Whether I was reading nonfiction, fiction, philosophy, it didn't matter. The stream of consciousness of my favorite writers in forms of letters, of poems, it went on and on and on. So I say this because on the Prose.com, which is my favorite writing site for obvious reasons, but they have these portals. They're called portals, and you can go into a portal which are genres. They are rooms of preferred writing and reading that turns you on. And now there are challenges for each portal featured by the site itself. So go check out the portals page. I will link that below. And if you write, enter. You might win $10 after a month. And that's a hell of a cup of coffee. Or for me, a bag of coffee. So the first piece today is by an author named Last in the Poetry and Free Verse portal. And it's from the monthly challenge that went up. This one is write a poem about a cleansing by fire, by any means. Beautiful, dirty, gritty, dark, fluffy, make it yours. Winner is decided by likes and will receive a crisp $10. Set it alight. Nice. And this is a beautiful, beautiful short poem. And the photo that heads the poem is also beautiful. I never really make note of that, but it's a beautiful beach bathed in soft orange sunlight. And the poem is called A Final Date in the Journal. Clouds came, acknowledged from the desert, a nod to the sea, shore, combing the hair of our beach, lit in the wind, seeds like shells of us, burning the souls at our feet, and none shall ever follow again. Follow the footsteps like we did, as pages follow you, like I did, my phantom shadow going west, holstered into fatal sunset. What a fucking gorgeous little poem. Last, thank you for this poem. And this next one is by an author on Prose who goes by DrSemicolon. His profile will be linked below, and upon going to it, you will see he's published and one hell of a talent. So, this is going to be from the horror and thriller portal in Prose. I think this is the first horror thriller debut on Prose Radio. But this is DrSemicolon closing out the show with his horror and thriller piece, Down to Earth. I was in paradise. I had my shoes off and felt the cool runnings of the clear water between my toes. The current was brisk, underscored by the smoothness of the variegated stones beneath my feet. There was a tingling sensation, too, but I trudged on. I set my sight on a horizon of sorts, the top of the stream source flanked by trees. My goal, to cover the entire expanse, to conquer it and make it mine. Inexplicably, I grew shorter. My heels were gone, forcing me to balance on those parts of my feet where toes met foot. I rose to the challenge. I reviewed my progress. This part of my conquest was easy. It was low-hanging fruit. Who needs heels anyway? Just ask Achilles. I grew shorter, still. Victory over my task was getting more arduous. It was only fair, though. You cannot take and take by taking it for granted. I had to earn my progress. Soon I found I was walking on stumps and no longer on my feet, but it didn't hurt. Not at all. What lurked beneath? I did not care, for I was above it. I could not be stopped. I made manifest destiny to reach the source of the water, no matter what. What drew me to my goal? My destination? I did not know. I did not care. But I would know when I got there. I grew shorter again. I was walking on stumps, which were my ankles. I adjusted my center of gravity to new and strange proprioception. I adapted. I was malleable. I pressed on. I grew shorter, yet again. I was walking on the mid-shafts of my shins. Strangely, there was no pain, no blood, and surprisingly, no alarm. It felt like the most natural thing in the world. After all, I was making progress. In this world of life-giving water and clarity, my quest began getting muddied. I was walking on kneecaps now, as if in judgment of me. By the stream, the water was growing deeper. The prospect of a tight race between my shortening and the water's depth was exhilarating. There is life in peril. Without it, there is no living. I sauntered on my hip sockets, Amputational karma haunted me, but I was not afraid. I was confident and resolute. It was I, after all. I am the one with the quest. I am the conqueror for the task assigned me, by me. The to and fro of my pelvic girdle was as a dance with the water. It was choreography. I imagined hearing music. Terpsichore held my hand, but Melpomene watched from behind us. I churned what remained of my mitigated gait. The water grew deeper. I pressed on. I would win this race. Now I only had my shoulder girdle to support me. My heart was gone, sacrificed to my holy mission. And with it my conscience. My entrails trailed, leaving a trustworthy tracing for those who would follow, to follow. They would think of me. They would know that dominating this river, nay, stream, was possible because it had been done. It had been me who had succeeded. The rapids ahead did not frighten me. My only means of locomotion was my skull, its mandibular articulations providing the thrust to send me forward in spasmodic fits and jerks. Finally, when that final joint had disarticulated, sending my jaw under the froth, I was as just my head, my mind, my obsession. It was indeed a tight race, as the turbulence tossed what was left of me, who sputtered and spit to breathe. I sank below the cresting tide and was one with the earth. The earth won. My biggest mistake wasn't trying, bravely or foolishly or both, to do it without toes, feet, hips, shoulders, or jaw. My biggest mistake was not being wise enough to know what I was up against. That some agendas are bigger than me.